Welcome back. This is
Yeah.
Quick Dive number 9,
Hello.
and
Number
we are
9.
here to recap the very amazing,
Yes.
action-packed
Did you say
Action-packed.
recap?
Marvel
Cap?
Come on, man.
episodes 3 and 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Is what we're going to be recapping and explaining some things that are going on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, let's dive into it. These last 2 episodes, I mean, the show is going so fast. Like we're already past
I love it.
the halfway point.
Yeah, man. 6
And-
episodes.
Hey, man,
quick.
I don't want to say this is better than WandaVision, but it's very fast paced. Although I appreciate what WandaVision did and represented. I love
Yeah.
this show. I
It's
love this
different.
show.
Because WandaVision had 9 episodes, and for some reason it felt shorter because episodes were like 30 minutes to 40 minutes long.
Yep.
These ones are like almost 40 minutes long and like 40 minutes plus. I
Mhm.
think one episode is almost cracked an hour.
Yeah, it was like 56.
Minus the
credits.
The credits
but
aren't as long either.
I love the credits for this one actually. More
Credits are
than,
dope.
people don't talk about the credits enough, but like there's a lot of cool little Easter eggs and stuff going on in the credits. If you haven't checked that out, try to see what's going on. But
Mhm.
let's kick it off. So episode 3.
Mhm.
This is the episode where they break Zemo out.
Yep.
And they try to they're trying to find Carly Morgenthau because she
Mhm.
is the leader of the Flag Smashers, terrorist organization, but to her, they're not terrorists.
They're not terrorists. They're
Mhm.
just people that had things taken away from them,
Yeah.
and they'll kill anybody in the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Bucky has the wonderful idea of breaking out Zemo, the only villain that's been able to take down the Avengers, and he believes that that Zemo will be able to help. That he has some information about the Flag Smashers, or at least about these super soldiers that are popping up left and right, and that turns out to be a fact.
Yeah, Zemo doesn't feel like a villain at all.
No,
he
man.
doesn't-
Anti-hero. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Anti-hero
Yeah,
vibes.
He has his own agenda.
But even anti-hero vibes, like anti-heroes do some bad. Like I feel like Carly is more of an anti-hero than
Mhm.
Zemo is.
Mm.
Because even though like anti-hero is supposed to be like you're a hero, but not really, anti-hero to me still feels like villain. And Zemo
Yeah.
doesn't really fit that for what's going on, at least.
Yeah.
He feels like the true hero in the whole show. Obviously he
It's
will
because
kill you with no remorse.
he's keeping the ball rolling. Yeah, he's keeping the ball rolling right now. Zemo's literally the fuel that's driving Bucky and Sam right now.
Yeah.
Well, this is great because I love that this episode introduces Zemo as Baron Zemo, which
Mhm.
is his official title in the comic books. And for people who know a little bit about Baron Zemo, he is the leader of the Thunderbolts. And seeing this turn
Eventually.
of his evolution and character development makes me feel like that the Thunderbolts might be on the way, and that Zemo could potentially lead them in the future. But
Yeah, totally possible.
I loved the banter. I love the dialogue between Zemo and like the hint of comedy that he has.
The dancing.
It's like it's just enough. It's just enough to make you start to like him.
Yeah. No,
Release a Zemo cut.
Hey, it's released already. You can watch
Yeah.
hours worth of it on YouTube.
Yeah, they
Just
did that.
on
It's
loop.
great.
DC would never, but let's keep it going.
Not
So
at all.
back to Carly Morgenthau real quick. Just quick thoughts. Like, what do you guys think about her? Like, do you like her? Do you not like her?
In the words of Captain America, Steve Rogers, she's just a kid, bro. She's just a kid. I don't know. Like when you're a kid and you have the accessibility to those powers, but also like to be considered a leader, like nothing can stop you. Like obviously right now,
Mhm.
nothing's stopping her. So things just keep escalating. Well, we'll touch base what happened in episode 4 and whatnot, but she's just a
Mhm.
kid, bro. Like she growing up way too quick, getting powers way too quick, and she doesn't know her own strength.
Yeah.
One thing that I feel like that they've established in the show is that everyone has their sense of right. You
Mm.
know, because
Yeah.
the underlying tone with Captain America is that he would do what's right. You know, he would do the just thing. And in this fight for who deserves to be Captain America amongst everybody, even, you know, like they're like, you could consider Zemo being Captain America. You could consider Carly being Captain America. You can consider, of course, John Walker and Battlestar, and of course, Sam and Bucky. So everyone is trying to figure out how to achieve this righteousness that Steve
Mhm.
kind of carried with him, and we really get to see it play out. I didn't think that I thought it was mostly going to be between Sam and Bucky kind of going
Yeah.
back and forth through it, but they've really positioned it in a way, even with the Dora Milaje, with the Milaje, that like we're going
That
to,
was such a
you know,
surprise.
yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit later as well. But even with them, like it's like their sense of right as well, you know, and that's really what the argument is throughout this whole show, is who's right and who's justified in doing the things that they're doing. And I love it. So
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's really, really great.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, Carly in general, I don't know, like there is comparisons drawing her to Wanda when Wanda blew up the hospital, and but the difference between Wanda and Carly and the whole situation with Cap and Falcon being like the same comparison in the situation is Carly has no remorse for killing people. As for Wanda, she felt really bad when she blew up that hospital. You
uh
know, she didn't do it on purpose. She was doing it to save Cap. Obviously, there was
what do you
some
mean to save
backfire.
Cap?
Yeah, in Civil War.
Yeah, he's referring to the beginning of Civil War when she blew up the hospital.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
WandaVision did that. Okay, gotcha.
So when Wanda blew up the hospital, she felt
Yeah.
remorse. She felt bad. She's like, my powers, I can't control them, yada yada. And there's comparisons being drawn to that with Carly and her blowing up the hospital and her being a
Uh,
kid.
I don't
But
think that's a good comparison, so
It's
to
really
speak.
not.
I feel like it's kind of different
I guess
situation.
I guess the comparison only in the way where Cap and Falcon are vouching for these young super powered humans, you know,
Hmm.
that they don't know any better.
Hmm.
But the difference with Carly is I feel like she does know better.
Yeah. I think Carly does know better. I think that she is a hurt individual that has superpowers and is like anybody who's been downtrodden by people with power, you know, like, and so quote unquote real power, like not
Mm,
just super abilities, but like actually being able to displace you or put you in situations where it's highly, highly inconvenient, and even prevent aid or prevent a sense of living that is worth it. I think that she's more of like, all these people are. I would compare, if we're going to do the Wanda comparison, I would compare her to Wanda in Age of Ultron,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
of feeling
most
like, yo,
definitely.
I need to get back at Tony Stark for destroying my family.
Yeah.
And
In this case,
the
it's GRC.
exactly, in this case is GRC, and more of like Sam
That's
and
true.
that Hawkeye conversation that Hawkeye had with Carly, and saying like, yo,
Yeah,
if you step out of here, you're an Avenger now. Like, you
that
got to
is a
switch
better
the whole
comparison.
thing up,
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole thing with GRC, you know, like they
which is
haven't. I
pretty
mean,
cool.
it's interesting because like there was a commercial at the beginning, episode 3 of GRC, and what it is, what it stands for. It's the Global Repatriation Act. Pretty much just trying to restore, rebuild, and I forget what their slogan is,
Forgot what
but
the other R was.
they're
It's
just
good
trying to
branding
get
though, real good
yeah,
branding.
they're just trying to get the world back like how it was before the blip.
Before the blip, right?
But
Yeah.
during the blip, people were coming together and helping each other.
Hmm.
You know, even the governments were helping people because those were the people that were left. But now that everybody snapped back, everybody is like, I guess, people that were living in other people's homes have to leave because that was their home. There's schools. Pretty much, it's overpopulated in a blink of an eye. It's overpopulated again.
It was probably so crazy, bro. Like, I love that these shows are showing the blip in different ways, like how we saw in the hospital with WandaVision. But I'm just thinking, like, man, you're just living in someone's house and they just blip in your bed.
Yeah. Well, it's not your house.
Exactly. Like, you're like, yeah, I moved. Because if you think about it, like 5 years is a long time. Like, I've lived in a house for 5 years and I felt like it was my own, you know? So to have somebody just blip in your bathroom, like, wait, what?
Hey, cuz, what you doing here?
There's probably so much confusion.
Yeah, it's really showing what the effects of the blip are. For us, when Iron Man snapped everybody back, it's like, all right, everything's back to normal. Like nothing will change, but there's a lot of change going on, and we don't really
Hulk
know
did the snap.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Hulk did the snap, but we don't really know the effects of the timeline entirely, at least until we get to Loki. So,
right,
I'm happy to talk about that when that comes along.
For sure.
But yeah,
man. So we got Baron Zemo's prison break. So.
Yeah.
Bucky's talking to Sam. As if like, so what if I did this?
Not even what if he's like, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, right.
And he's like, I don't like how you're talking about this. It's always crazy.
If Bucky is coming up with a plan, it's up to no good. It's a plan that's up to no good for sure. And then we just see Zemo pop out and wow, it was great. It was great seeing him do his thing and get out of that situation.
He has so much finesse.
So much finesse.
That's Zemo's power, finesse.
No, he does have finesse for sure. And then like him getting his materials and then seeing the mask for the first time. Oh man, that made me feel really good. I was like, okay, we're getting to the.
I can't wait to hear the
OG
backstory for that, because obviously in the comic it was his father's. So I want to see more flashback or more backstory for Zemo. Hopefully, we get that next.
I don't think
I'm sure it was probably just like a military mask. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't think we're gonna get in this show. But like Norik said, I'm pretty sure the Thunderbolts, right?
Yeah.
Which is dope because the Thunderbolt's a really nice car, but.
Yeah.
When you're rich, you buy nice cars.
Yeah, man. We may or may not see the Thunderbolts later on. I think that one thing that I like about the show and that I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping it with John Walker too, is like Marvel needs to stop killing their villains, because seeing like Batroc come back in the earlier episodes as like a reoccurring baddie is awesome, and seeing Zemo come back as a reoccurring baddie is awesome. So I'm hoping that they continue to have these mid-tier to like top tier villains kind of just reoccur and come back, because just putting them in jail and having them escape is great, because that allows for just more stories to continue. But when you blow them up, then there's nothing we could do.
That's the end of the story right there.
Yeah, it's the end of the story.
I mean, with Loki, they brought Loki back several times.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I mean, and they killed him and brought him back still. They needed him.
Somehow they're like, all right, we can't bring him back from the dead, but we can bring him back from a different timeline.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That prison break scene was pretty cool, It was pretty thought out. I don't know how he got the card to him in that book, but some finesse right there, I'd say.
Yeah.
After that, Zemo pretty much had a plan, starting like from going to Madripoor, and it's like, hey, I have a contact. We just have to go undercover, because if we get caught up, we're done. We're dead.
Yeah. And this is the first time that we've seen Madripoor
even mentioned.
Mentioned. And Madripoor has been mentioned in the comic books. It is a villain kind of city for bounty hunters and villains to go through there and get jobs and that kind of thing. It's the equivalent of it's like Marvel's Cantina from Star Wars. It's just where all the scoundrels are at and things like that, and the people are around. Exactly. And a lot of mutants have like been around there, like the super powerful, super, mutants that aren't accepted by either the Brotherhood or the X-Men in the comics. So I'm excited that location itself is now in the MCU, because it just allows for a lot of origins for villains and a lot of cool crossings that can happen when it comes to villains and heroes in the MCU.
Yeah, most definitely. I can see Deadpool going to Madripoor or something like that. But
Absolutely.
I definitely do want to see more Madripoor. It's really, really interesting. That's where Sharon Carter ended up.
She's so fine.
Yeah, I really want to know how she got there. Where she went to after, or if she was even blipped, or where she went to after helping
Civil
Cap.
War.
Yeah, like is that where she just ended up, or did she go somewhere before?
Well, this is one thing I've been trying to figure out too that we were talking about is like, yes, Cap went back in time because obviously she's Agent Carter, Peggy Carter's niece, but from my understanding, it was through marriage. So her uncle should have been the one that ended up marrying Peggy, right?
Well, it could be a thing where Cap knew, hey, I can't affect the timeline. I need Sharon to keep doing what she's doing, so that way.
So Cap's like, I'm just gonna clap from cheeks, do my thing.
Yeah. I think Cap is a pretty, like I said, righteous person. Even though that he's going back to see Peggy one more time, just to say, like, he really just wants to keep his word of saying, like, I want to do that dance. Like, yeah, he loves Peggy, but he's been through a lot. He's lived, for a few years, and it was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to just do my own thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cap knew that the right thing to do is to leave everything exactly how it needed to happen, and he wasn't going to interfere. The only difference probably is him spending a little bit of time with Peggy for, maybe a few weeks or a couple months, but something that didn't necessarily change everything drastically, but allowed him to have a conversation with her and let her know what she needed to do.
Yeah. As far as like, this is what's going to happen with Hydra, or not only that, but
well, like he can't really do that either.
He
but
can't
maybe
tell her nothing. He can't interfere.
But the reason, what we can say is that, like, because with comic books, and this is just my theory, but like with comic books, like the reason why people do things sometimes comes from like a time loop, or like the future. So she had Shield, or it wasn't Shield at the time. It was like SSO or something like that, some strategic whatever. So he could have came back and said, like, you're going to start Shield. And that be the idea that she needs to say, oh, I'm going to start Shield. Yeah. And then just go on from there. You know what I mean? She doesn't need to know anymore. She knows how to do that already. So
then that leaves the question open that who the hell did Cap marry? Because he had that ring, and Sam is like, you want to tell me about her? He's like, I don't think I will. Like, I don't know. I hope Loki literally touches base on all this.
Yeah, I mean,
because I have so many freaking questions, man.
I mean, there could be some scenes of Cap going back in the future that weren't in Endgame and all that can be slipped into Loki, somehow. There's a lot of different ways that they can play that whole timeline situation, but it might just be focused on other things. So far, all these trailers have been very misleading. Like Narik said, like, it's interesting to see the Dora Milaje, and it's interesting to see Sharon Carter, Carly Morgenthau, Zemo play more parts into this show. So there's a lot that we still don't know for these upcoming shows.
Yeah. And did you guys get any, like, Sharon Carter was kind of hiding something vibes?
Oh, of course.
She's like this super art dealer in like this
in Madripoor.
Madripoor, like it gave me like real collector type of vibes. And she might be like the new type of collector. In a sense, she might be Mephisto. But I definitely think that she knows something about what's going on the greater, like, wherever. I don't think that we'll necessarily find it out in totality what she's up to, but I think that it'll spill out into the bigger narrative. And I personally have a suspicion that this show is going to pour out into Armor Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to clarify what that is?
Armor Wars is a new show that Disney Plus announced, Disney Plus and Marvel, that will be starring Don Cheadle as War Machine. And I believe that other people who are trying to design armors similar to Iron Man are going to be involved in that. We may even see AIM. We may see just other geniuses. We might even get Justin Hammer back. All these different things. But
I mean, I
digress.
think she's working with the Power Broker. Maybe she could be doing both. You know,
she might be the Power Broker.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that.
That is true. You know, that now that you say that, that's pretty.
One thing that not many people noticed is when she's talking to Sam on the phone and she's like walking. I forget where she's walking to. She's talking about how everything is like going crazy in Madripoor right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you fast forward, which nobody really noticed, when she's talking on the phone or giving Sam like an update, she has a blister on her lip. So as far as we know, like in these next few episodes, we could get flashbacks of what's happening in Madripoor, or it could save for later on.
I figured that blister on her lip was when she was fighting everybody outside of the.
Yeah, she was still healing from getting smacked up, but she was doing the smacking though.
Yeah, she really was.
I wish I was doing.
She probably has a serum in here. I mean, the fact that she knew she had connects to know where the doctor was, and no questions were asked how she found him. You know, she just kind of did. And
I mean, she still is a high-level SHIELD agent, so I think that ultimately they want to kind of show that, you know, when you're a SHIELD agent, you got contacts, you got people. Like you're a secret agent, so
you got a Rolodex of everybody.
Yeah, like you know what you're doing. And
why hasn't? What I want to know is why hasn't Nick Fury stepped up and pardoned her and brought her back? Unless he does know about her and he knows that, or she's like undercover, trying to be like, oh, I can't go back because I'm not wanted there. Maybe Nick Fury wants her there, type of thing.
Or she could be a Skrull and she's already up with Nick Fury.
Could be.
You know. So I don't put it past anybody now.
Another thing in the show that really caught everybody by surprise at the end of episode 3, there was these little beeping, I don't know, like devices all over the ground.
Goya beans. Let's just call them Goya beans.
Why are we gonna call them Goya beans?
No. So anyways,
I read the real name for him.
So Bucky sees them, he knows he's being followed, and he goes to this alley. And out of nowhere, we get a very recognizable character that has been in 3 other Marvel movies, not with a prominent role, but everybody knows who she is. And if you didn't know who she was, then you suck. But
Ayo
is Ayo, right? Is Ayo? I think that's
Ohio. I'm just kidding.
Ohio is actually hello, good morning in Mandarin. Ohio.
No, Japanese.
Oh, Japanese. My bad.
Yes.
Well, anyways, yeah. Skywalker, continue.
So she makes an appearance, which nobody knew. I mean, we knew Bucky was in Wakanda. We just didn't know Wakanda.
We didn't expect this.
We're gonna be in this show. You know, there was no hints. There was nothing in the trailers. It was literally pure surprise.
What kind of twist is this? It was great.
Because usually with these shows, it's like, oh, this next episode, we're getting a super awesome appearance. So the whole show, you're waiting for that appearance, and you're like, oh, there it is. But this one, it was like, what the?
Yeah.
Like,
where'd it come from? Right.
Yeah.
How is it going to play in, you know? And in the next episode, we see
it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
It did. I mean, they were okay. I mean, from we found out, I think at the end of Civil War, T'Challa was cool with the U.S. taking Zemo, and he said that he was willing to help Bucky and help him find peace. And, you know, now that Zemo is out of jail, the Wakandans are like, all right, no, that's not what we signed up for. Like, we're gonna take him in ourselves, type thing. And it was really cool to see them in episode 4 finally show up with like the whole gang. The whole Dora Milaje shows up and demands that Zemo goes with them.
Yeah, and at this time,
that scene was awesome.
Man, at this time, John Walker, this whole time has just been trying to play catch up. He's been struggling as being Cap, which it's weird because like I've been waiting to see him get orders. Like nobody is really giving him orders, and it's surprising to me because I'm like, wait, so they just gave him the shield and he's just like in command now? Because it doesn't seem like that he's prepared or ready for that. Like it seemed like that he was more one of those guys that like was waiting for the government to say, hey, John, go here. This is the objective. Execute the objective. Right. And it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like him and Battlestar are kind of on their own trying to figure it out. And they may have backup or the cavalry if needed. But John Walker's been trying to catch up. He finally catches up to Sam and to Bucky and sees that Zemo has been freed. And he's like, you guys got to be kidding me. Like, how could you do this? And Sam and Bucky are like, look, like we were able to find out all this information. We know that the Flag Smashers have the super soldier serum. We found the doctor who did it. We're trying to stop it. Just chill because we're on it. Like be our backup. And this is just kind of adding a little bit more to Cap's frustration of trying to live up to the moniker.
Yeah, it's just pressure. He has the pressure on him. Not even. I mean, this episode is like the world is watching it, and it's in different ways. The world is always watching Cap, wherever they go. I don't know if you noticed when they were out there in whatever country they were in the background, you can always see people. Yeah, Latvia. You can always see people in the back, like with their cell phones up when he's around, like from a distance, just like, oh, look, like it's Cap, so there's pressure, he wants to do the right thing and he wants to be the one on top.
Yeah.
Because like we mentioned in the last episode, he doesn't want it to be Falcon. He doesn't want it to be Bucky. He wants to be the one there to make the arrest, to make the, I don't know, whatever it
to
is.
Make sure that he's credited, to make sure that he's credited in the right way. And in episode 4, we get a little backstory on Carly, and we get some backstory on well, not really backstory, but we get more John and we get more Carly. So Carly, we didn't say, but at the end of episode 3, she ended up blowing up a building, to send a message and saying like, hey, we're not playing any games, and just like how terrorists do. Right. And Sam feels like, okay, we could either go to war with these people or we can solve this diplomatically, see what they want and what they need, and maybe it's something that we can provide for them and figure out a better solution. And so he tries to have the conversation with her, but John wants to stay in command. And in him wanting to stay in command, he's not used to being told orders from technically a civilian in his eyes, even if that civilian is an Avenger. He thinks that now his title gives him the right to have the best idea moving forward and moving in.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know who I am?
He's like, I do, and I don't care. Like it was just disrespect. He was getting disrespected the whole episode. Fast forward to him fighting, I would say, first of all, he stormed into a conversation between Sam and Carly, which is arguably probably one of the best dialogue in the episode
so far. I think about the whole series so far.
Honestly, between two people, it was just a great conversation. I was so I was just really excited on how Sam handled himself and dealt with that, and that was just really dope.
Actor.
It's a good use of empathy.
Man.
Like even though it's fake, right? Like it's acting. The use of empathy was really well done. Especially when it came to Sam using his like, bro, I used to do this for a living. Like I still do this for a living.
Yeah. And so, John ended up breaking that up, and it caused everyone to scatter and run and mess things up. And, fast forward over to John and Zemo and Bucky and Sam trying to regroup and figure out what they need to do. and we have this amazing fight between Ayo and the Dora Milaje. I didn't think so either. I thought it was just going to be a tease, but as soon as he put his hand out to smack her shoulder, I said, "Oh, it's over."
Real quick, don't forget when John walked in on Sam with Sam having the conversation. Zemo breaks out like this, with the finesse that he has, and starts destroying the serums.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And lo and behold, he forgets one serum, and guess who picks it up?
Well, he didn't forget it. I think he was going to get to it, but he was disrupted.
He was prevented. Yeah, he was disrupted. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he got
and
a shield.
John
to the face.
Walker ends up picking it up. Yeah, he did get a shield to the face. That must have hurt. That must have hurt a lot. I don't think we've seen anybody catch a shield to the face and just get he didn't get back up immediately, but just survive it afterwards. People I remember that opening for Civil War, and people were getting knocked by that shield. Yeah. So I guess it makes sense that he didn't get knocked fully because he didn't get hit by a super soldier throwing the shield. So it's just a regular dude throwing the shield, and that hurt enough to knock him out. But yeah, John Walker recovered one of the serums.
Yeah. And he even contemplated, should I take this or not? But
he got his ass beat by the Dora Milaje, bro. He got his ass beat.
Bro.
Bucky got disarmed, literally.
Yeah. I know. That was
fail-safe.
Interesting, man. It was a fail-safe. And I feel like he felt betrayed, but honestly, you have to know that could happen. They're not going to just equip you back. And
because
it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy because that moment from in this one episode, we got the very beginning and then the very end of
their trust
of that whole trust. You know what I mean? That we got in one episode where the episode starts off with Bucky overcoming the orders, and that was beautiful to see. And Ayo put in a lot of work and effort in teaching Bucky and teaching him the language and giving him that peace and curing him. And then he felt like, wow, even after that, you had to put in a failsafe. And in Ayo's defense, it's we're not idiots. Of course we're going to put a failsafe. You didn't pay for this. You didn't, as far as we're concerned, any part of vibranium is ours and we lend it out.
which is why I'm surprised it didn't take the arm and the shield, because after the whole fight scene with the Dora Milaje, in right here, you can see this Wakandan pick up the shield, and I thought they were gonna take it.
I thought they were gonna take it.
She picked it up the way Cap picked it up, the way Steve Rogers picked up the shield.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I'm sure that John Walker didn't like seeing a black woman pick up the shield just like him. And he was just kind of whoa, okay. This is a stark difference in you seeing an African, well, not truly African, a Wakandan woman picking up this shield that is the symbol of America. I'm on the ground. She's standing over me. She just beat me up.
Yeah.
It's so much that hit him that he was just kind of am I even cut out for this?
Not only that, they weren't super soldiers, and he emphasizes that too.
Oh man,
they weren't even super soldiers.
Bro, I felt that was a Steppenwolf moment right there when he got told he got 50,000 more worlds to conquer.
I have 3 worlds, 50,000 more.
I really feel for John Walker. I mean, I know we're supposed to hate him in this show because he's the new Cap, but I mean, he has a lot to live up to, and he was I don't know if he volunteered to be Cap or they're you're the next Cap and you can't say nothing about it type thing, you know? So I mean, even him, when he's talking about his war medals, he's even when I did that I didn't do what was right, I saved people, but was it the right thing? So I mean, through this whole episode, he's getting bullied, he's a step behind. He's really not leadership material, It's surprising that Lamar is right there by his side, but I mean, that's his best friend.
Well, it looks like Lamar. Sorry, go ahead, Nariq.
No, you're good.
It looks like Lamar is basically his conscience. That's his ground. You know what I mean? This dude's basically talking sense into him. Even when it came to Sam wanting to talk to Carly, he was just like, no, like you should let him talk to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did we get multiple situations like that? So, but continue what you're saying because obviously it leads up towards the end.
Yeah, I think that just really quick with Ayo not taking the vibranium arm, I think that was a form of saying, because of everything that we've been through, I'm not going to take this away from you.
Yeah.
However, I'm definitely not going to let you use it against us. That's like for sure not going to happen. So I think like Bucky needs to understand
that's a crazy way to put it. Like
You
you're
know?
not gonna. We made you this arm. You're not about to try to beat me up with this arm.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
That's Sam's fault, though. He was like, "Come on, step in." Sam, you know who these people are. Why would you tell Bucky to step in? Like that's one thing that I caught. Like he was like, "Come on, help him." It's like they're not going to kill him. Like they just here for Zemo. That's
what did Bucky say? You're doing great, John.
Yeah, you're doing great, John.
Sam should have stepped in. I mean, well, he did like as far as like just doing the fight, but Sam isn't a super soldier either. He could have caught a vibranium spear to the chest and it would have been over. It would have just been the Winter Soldier. That's the name of the show now. And so he's probably like, oh damn, I'm not trying to get caught up in that either. And he's not very well versed. Bucky's more well versed, so he's kind of like, lead this is your time to do that. But in the commotion, Zemo ends up escaping. Ayo and the other Dora Milaje are pissed off. So they're like, we didn't come here for Cap's shield. Our king already said that the shield could stay in America or with America, whatever it is, even if we don't approve. And Bucky can keep his arm. So let's get out of here and get who we need to get. And then that brings us to John realizing for the first time that he's clearly out of his depth. He clearly doesn't know enough. He clearly isn't capable, as capable as he would like. And Battlestar is there for him. So, if we fast forward to later on in the episode where I think John just really has a heart-to-heart with Battlestar and it's just kind of like, yo, like we could have saved our brothers and sisters
with the
serum. With the serum. Would you take it? That was the question. He's like, man, like we're getting beat up, but would you take this? And he's like, yeah, I'd take it, no doubt. And not really knowing that John Walker has the ability to take it. So it's more of just like a candid, like, what if? I bet that if John Walker showed him the serum right there, Lamar might have been like, you know what, man, I don't know if that's something that we should do.
Now's not the time.
Yeah, like now's not the time to do this. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, because the question was, would you take it if it's offered to you, not if you found it off the floor?
Exactly. Exactly. So him saying, yeah, I would, kind of like how you said, sincere about him being as conscious. Yeah, it was confirmation. He was like, okay, for sure, I'm going to take it. So he went and he took it. And this time, the battle was between the Flag Smashers, where we get a new Flag Smasher who, in the beginning of the episode, said that he looked up to Cap back in the day as he grew up.
Oh, he definitely looks up to him, all right.
I mean, he sure did. My man looked all the way up, up. And so during this battle, we see that John Walker is kind of exerting a little bit more force than we've seen. He's bending metal. He's launching the shield, and it's like indenting into the walls. It's like just a lot more force that's there. And man, while fighting, Carly goes and punches Battlestar, and she gave him that Bruce Lee 10-inch punch, like power, sending him into the pillar. Boom. Bust his neck.
Yeah, that was honestly like that. At that point, I mean, I didn't think we were gonna lose somebody this episode, and I feel like the death of Battlestar is gonna pretty much echo through the last couple episodes. In John Walker is gonna honor him the best he can, and now he has a serum, and as we saw what the serum can do to him and what it does to his emotions, it can be very fatal to a lot of people.
Yep. And
before Battlestar dies, when they're having a conversation about the serum, he also emphasizes like, well, if the serum is meant to make everything that's great, like yes, you have medals of honor, but if it's emphasizing your emotion that you're in, then that's what the foundation's gonna lay. You know what I mean? Like if you're laying this foundation of based off of I'm angry, my best friend's dead, or like I want to stop these people, or like I'm not strong enough, I need to be the strongest person here. That's basically what it's going to stem from, and it basically turned into that.
Yeah, it's like it's your character, you know.
Yeah,
well, like, and that kind of goes back to the earlier episodes when he said, when Bucky was like, did you jump on a grenade? And he's like, yeah, I did it with my helmet. You know, like our helmets are reinforced to do that. Like, so he's willing to do it, but he's also willing. He's not selfless. You know, he's more selfish, and like a soldier. And I'm not a soldier, so you know, shouts out to everybody who served our country. But a soldier in this day and age, usually the lines between good and evil may be blurred and justified depending on which side that you're on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there was a time when it was easier to define those lines. It's not as easy nowadays, and it just so happened that Steve Rogers was from that time, you know, of where it was easy to define.
Yeah.
And his character fit being, you know, they wanted the perfect man, not the perfect soldier, you know, or a good man, not the perfect soldier. And unfortunately, John Walker is the perfect soldier. And that's all that was enhanced. So as a perfect soldier should, he was like, I'm not letting you guys get away. I'm going to track you down. And we got to see.
He booked it.
Yeah. Would you say that this is like the first like hero murder in Marvel that we've kind of seen like full on, like not just like where I'm fighting a whole bunch of baddies and then like, he's probably dead, but like
I would call it a brutality. Like no Mortal Kombat pun, but like, I would call it a brutality.
It's definitely the first time there's blood on the shield. I'd say that.
Now, there's probably been blood on the shield. I
mean, as far as we know, seen on screen. That's
that's true. That's true. That's true. So yeah, it was definitely,
especially
to your Mortal Kombat point, Sincere. It was a finish him. It was a finish him moment of just like, yo, I'm going to end this guy. And the irony,
he didn't even do anything.
I know the irony of looking up to Cap as he stabs you in the chest with a vibranium shield.
I would
with
say
all of his strength.
My assumption is he chopped his head off, but I could be wrong.
No, he didn't. They showed his face. Yeah, it was just in the chest. But you broke the sternum, you broke the ribs, you probably stabbed down into his heart because it was deep in there. So he basically has an entire gash just in the middle of his chest from the shield. Basically, what he did to that wall, he did to his chest.
Yeah. It's just crazy to see someone who's embodying Captain America. No, I mean, we know it's not Cap, but just with the shield and the suit, it's just so crazy to see that. And I'm really intrigued to see what goes forward, you know.
Well, one thing that I brought up as well, like in the group chat, was basically these last two episodes, they put John Walker through everything that Steve Rogers dealt with, from losing his best friend to fighting enemies that are stronger than you. But also, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but every time John Walker introduces himself, he makes sure to introduce himself as Captain America. Steve Rogers never did that. He would always introduce himself as Steve Rogers, nothing more. So it's just crazy to see the differences, but also like, again, it was kind of expected. Again, everybody from the start was already, I hate this guy. We already know what's going to happen. Not so much the comic book buffs, but just people that are just like, there's something off about this guy. But again, I don't think it escalated quicker than what I expected. I was expecting this to be like a last episode thing, not a, oh shit, there's 2 more episodes to go.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So going to the 2 more episodes that we're going to have, rumor is that the next episode is supposed to be about 61 minutes long. So it should be a pretty meaty episode. We still don't have any idea who the power broker is. The power broker said to Carly that, hey, I'm going to find you, little girl. You messed up. So I have a feeling that we're going to see who the power broker is in the next episode. And now we have Sam and Bucky having to deal with the fallout of John murdering this person in front of everybody and the shield being tainted. So what do you guys think is going to happen on the next episode?
No idea. Honestly, no idea. Like, I want to say, I know, obviously I've seen trailers of Bucky and Sam talking to John Walker and pretty much saying, you don't want to do this. And
Right.
Bucky says, yeah, I do. Yeah, we do. But other than that, I no idea.
Yeah. All I know is that everybody's going to be mad at the U.S. again, but yet, knowing how the U.S. operates, they're going to do their best to protect John Walker. And
or they disown John Walker like how they did Sharon Carter and be like, yeah, we don't condone all that at all. And then that makes John Walker go over the edge even more because he's like, I did this for you.
Yeah. I don't think so because they're the ones that basically created him. I mean, I guess it's different for Steve Rogers. Like, from the start, nobody really liked him. I feel like even though he was Captain America, he was an underdog. But I feel like with John Walker, they blatantly made him Captain America. They took the shield out of the museum to give it to this guy. But again, I could be completely wrong. They could just disown him and be like, you know what, you're on your own. You can stay out of the country, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So we will see on the next episode, guys. Thank you so much.
Good episode.
Man, couple great episodes. They are doing a phenomenal job. I'm excited for our next quick dive where we will conclude the series.
Are we watching the last episode together?
I mean, we might. We can discuss it, you know? Yeah. So if you guys are listening to this, look out for more information on that going forward. And then, this has been a quick dive number 9 with your boys at Soundflick. Make sure and follow us at Soundflick Pod. And if you want to start your own podcast, make sure and follow the guys over at Productive Culture, or you can go to the website productiveculture.com/podcasts in order to learn more. Tell them that the Soundflick boys sent you. We hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Peace.